Whoosh! Right, so Geordie Journos, I'm back. Took us a while. Shut up, mate.
New season, Liam Kennedy's.
Well, you'd have seen us on the live, obviously.
Exactly. Yeah.
But we're back as a threesome for the
I know,
first
it's
time
a bit
since
crowded,
Hull
isn't
City.
it?
I know, I can barely fit on this screen camera. You held the fort quite well.
Nah.
Japan and everything else along the way.
How have you been anyway, Liam?
I'm alright.
See you all the time, but
Yeah.
people
yeah,
won't think so.
No, there was no crack badge this summer, was there? Right, let's address it. What do we think of that then, lads? Newcastle United, of course, Joelinton inspired, Bruno inspired.
Sean Longstaff inspired.
I was just going to say a little bit more controversially. Dan Burn and Sean Longstaff inspired. Win. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't nice. The first half an hour was grim, actually. But thoughts on the thing as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, but breaking it down, yeah, the first half hour wasn't good at all, was it?
I don't like it. I've got concerns about that first half hour.
It probably because of the way the game unfolded and the red card, you sort of almost maybe forget about that first half hour. But it was shades of in last season when teams came here and caused Newcastle problems. I think about the spell Newcastle went through when they played the likes of Bournemouth, Luton here, newly promoted clubs. Not Bournemouth, were Bournemouth new promoted? They were.
No, season before.
Oh, sorry, yeah, but Luton were anyway, and they caused problems, and I thought it was quite similar today. Southampton did a job on Newcastle, I thought. In terms of the found pockets of space, Joe Aribo was sat in between sort of in front of the Newcastle defence and behind the Newcastle midfield, right in the gap. Southampton really good in possession. And then, the red card happens, and then obviously from that point, Newcastle just need to get a result. It doesn't really matter how they play after that. And I don't know how they did it. To be honest, once I went down to 10 men, it never. Well, actually, I'm lying here. I said to you guys, I think Newcastle would win.
You were all the way through that second half.
You were the
going,
most confident.
Yeah. I was going to say I didn't expect to win, but I did.
You did. But it was 2 games in one, wasn't it? That first half an hour is a little microcosm, and then the rest, because as the lights go out over here, honestly,
We're still a bit
was it? We're all right, actually. You can see it.
Yeah.
But it was too. It was the sort of that first half hour, and then there was the second hour. The second hour, it literally all became about the result. It didn't matter how they got it, but that first half an hour, there was enough to think. That wasn't great.
Yeah, it probably saved Newcastle from criticism in many ways. I think because you can look at that first half hour where Southampton were the better team, and Jordan asked Eddie how did the red card almost galvanise Newcastle, because it got the crowd in the game. When the crowd are in the game, Newcastle can take things up a gear, and basically from the red card to half time, Newcastle were the better team. They got on top, they scored the goal, it capitalised from a mistake. Alexander Isak, Joelinton finds the back of the net, a decent goal from Newcastle's perspective. Southampton will be frustrated with it, but then it gave Newcastle something to hold on to in the second half, and the second half wasn't pretty at all. But for all the defensive questions that got raised in Newcastle last season, to have a makeshift back line, and there were some fragilities to it at times, but to keep a clean sheet with the makeshift back line, to bring on Emil Kraft, Lloyd Kelly for his debut, and to keep that clean sheet and keep Southampton at bay, due to resolute defending, and the midfield played such a massive part in that as well. Alexander Isak even up front did a good shift, but to keep that clean sheet, and I think maybe a better team would have maybe asked more questions than Southampton did, but to get the result is all that matters in the end after a dodgy red card. Well,
that's what you'd say, wouldn't you? If you look at it from the opposite perspective, if you're one of the 3,000 or so fans here, Southampton, you would have been so impressed with that first half hour, then you would be so disappointed with the next hour, because having had Newcastle on the rack, we should go and do this. But that's the difference in quality between Championship and Premier League. I think a normal Premier League side might have put Newcastle to the sword today because of the amount of ball and chances that they had. They've never. There was moments, but it never really felt like it was they were truly knocking on the door, did it? That's probably why you got your confidence from.
There was only 2 standout saves I remember from Nick Pope in that game, and I think both were in the second half.
There's a goal line clearance as well.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Lewis Hall.
Yeah.
But see, well, I suppose that's what these videos are about more. It's more about the analysis of it, and I don't want to start jumping in here and people saying, "Oh, you're just being negative and Newcastle United have just won." I think it's important to analyse what we've just seen.
It's the first game of the season.
Yeah.
It's important to get our first impressions.
And it wasn't Newcastle United as we know it. It wasn't as good as we know they can be. It wasn't as good as they maybe looked in the first proper, the last proper pre-season game where you guys were here and did a video after that 4-0 win over Girona. They were quite fluent in that game. There was nothing of that sort really today. It threatened to be for maybe 4 minutes where you thought, oh, they've got off on the front foot here. And then Southampton almost in many ways opened up a lot of the same cracks and question marks that have always been there with this team. It's the pass through the midfield three, and I think all in their own right that midfield three were excellent today, but it was still the same problems for that first half hour where it was a quick 1-2 here and there, and all of a sudden the three of them were bypassed and it was straight through on the back four. Some clever movement, Walker Peters dropping into the midfield, Brereton Diaz, and we'll probably talk a little bit more about him. I know you want to have a comment or so about Brereton Diaz. He dropping out the left, he was quite clever with his movement. I think if that Will Smallbone had any, is that what you called any? Yeah. If he had any real quality about him, the gaps he was finding, and you mentioned Joe Rebo, who was taken off actually, wasn't he, in that second half? But again, if he'd had any real quality about him, the positions he was finding himself in down there at the Leazes end, it would have been a totally different result. My analysis of it before coming on the red card, looking forward, I think it just puts absolute focus on this central defensive problems. We've known throughout pre-season that was the partnership that ended the game today, was one of the partnerships that was shown by Eddie Howe through pre-season. He went with Schar and Kelly and Byrne and Kraft, and I don't know if I ever said it on a video, did I? I maybe said that against Hull, possibly. If that centre-half partnership has to play for any length of time for Newcastle United in the Premier League, Newcastle United have got major problems, and I stand by it. Emil Kraft came in seamlessly into this game, and that there's a lot of credit to be given to him for that. But Emil Kraft is Emil Kraft. There are levels, and if Newcastle have to play him and Dan Byrne, it frustrates the life out of me that the money that's been spent on this squad, the chances, the opportunity that there has been this summer to improve the team, and we're playing a makeshift rank average right back at centre half alongside Dan Byrne, who's been here for 2.5 years and has effectively been replaced twice, once with Sven Botman and another with Lloyd Kelly. You could even say replaced 3 times with Lewis Hall. That to me isn't very good. Look, there's reasons as to why we are where we are, of course, but I want to see improvement, and that to me is not an improvement. And it really pushes the focus on they've got to go and do it. They've got to go and do a deal. If that's Mark Gay and that's who Eddie Howe really wants, go and get him. And that's Paul Mitchell and the people around him. You've got to go and get the man if that's who they want. Look, I've always thought a right winger to complement and really provide the proper kind of service to Alexander Isak is a real priority. I know you guys think the same, because I think they're almost letting the centre forward down. A world-class centre forward having the players around him. I'm not going to go into names, and you'll know who I'm talking about. Certain individuals, they should be improving upon that as Newcastle United continue to move forward every window. There's been no improvement on the squad this summer, and this is the time for action. Now is the time to act. There was 2 weeks. Newcastle United are probably going to go to Bournemouth. It's going to be tough for them to get somebody in who's going to start on that team. That team that finished today is probably the team that's going to play against Bournemouth. And I would have concerns about certain parts of that game, certain parts of the team, and how I don't really feel like Newcastle have progressed from the team that was last season. I see a lot of talk online of Livramento this, Hall that, Tonali coming back, Barnes will be better. I hear all of this, and I hear what you're all saying. And no injuries. Injuries are part and parcel of football. There will come a point this season when Newcastle do not have the depth they've got now. That is just what happens.
The one game in, they've already lost a key player for 3 games.
Exactly. And that's why they need to go, they have to strengthen. For me, it's just really focused minds. You've got to go and get your man. If that's who Eddie Howe wants, and that's who the club think, I'm not saying a Gay, I really rate him. I'm not saying he's the transformative player that I think the team needs. But if that's what Eddie Howe thinks, and that's what they're going to go for, and they're maybe, if they're going to go 65, what's 70? If they're going to go 50, what's 55? It's that kind of thing. Are you then going to if you've gone this far and you think you can get your man for a little bit more, just go and do it. If that's who you think is the answer, and I trust them, if that's what they think is the answer, go for it. I'm not into all of this, well, spend 25 on him and 35 on him. And I'm not a scouting expert. I think Mark Gee's a really good player. I think he's a top 10 Premier League defender. I could also think of, probably off the top of my head, 4 or 5 who I would automatically say are better, and you're probably going to ask us who.
No, I was just saying top 10 is in top 10 club, or literally the top 10 players?
I think he's a top 10 Premier League centre-half, not clubs.
Yes, okay.
Players.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I just thought you meant top 10 is in top 10 clubs, which is a bit of a disservice, I'd say.
No, I think he's
He's one of the best English centre-backs going, isn't he? As
in a very poor era of English central defenders, he is easily one of the best. But you're going to have to pay world-class money for a player who isn't world-class level. And I would have grave doubts whether he ever will be world-class level. But that doesn't mean he can't be a top-class performer for this football club, because they've also signed other players who I don't believe will ever be world-class. Sven Botman, he could be Newcastle United centre-half for the next 10 years. I don't think he'll never be Vincent Kompany as he was, or he'll never be Virgil van Dijk. I don't think he will. It just makes it sound like I'm criticising. I'm not criticising.
Sven Botman's trying to get fit in you.
No, I really rate him. But I think they're saying, I would put Gay in that bracket. I think he's below the top level.
Okay.
I think he's got that ceiling as well. I think he's below the top level. But if that's what they think makes the huge difference for Newcastle United, and they've gone this far and they've really focused in, they've clearly decided centre half was a priority above right wing, haven't they? That's quite clear, because they're going to go all in on a. They kind of hinted they might go all in earlier in the window on a right winger, but they're quite fluid, as we've all reported on. We know that's how they work. If an opportunity becomes available and they see Gaze the opportunity, they're going all in. So that's their priority. And if that's what they think's the winner, then go for it. I don't see the point in dropping back and signing. I see people saying, well, why don't you go and get Trevor Chalobah from Chelsea? The bloke barely plays games. I mean, there's a reason why Chelsea are letting him go. It's because A, he's only of a certain level, and B, he's so injury prone and never plays games. Why? We don't want that here at Newcastle United again. So I feel like I've gone all around the houses. I just think you should go, and if Gay's the man and you've decided, you go and get him. And they might. I'm not saying I think they will. I'm not overly confident that that's a deal that can be done. But I think they'll go back. I think they'll go back in.
Just laughing at Joey Jonas' U-turn, because me and Dom did a video yesterday thinking that a deal happened.
Did it? I mean, I think there's still a possibility, but the ball's very much in Crystal Palace's court, even more so now that Newcastle's need for a centre-half is now more and more pressing.
Fabian Schar has dropped a clanger, hasn't he, in terms of transfer negotiations.
You might have cost him another $5 million.
Steve Parish, right, at 75 then.
You need him.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it'll work like that. I think
a Crystal Palace, and if you were to do that, Newcastle have... based on Eddie Howe's word, would look elsewhere.
Yeah, Eddie Howe has suggested 2 days running now, Newcastle would walk away from any deal that they feel.
Do you not think we're at a point now where the Gay money is a little bit uncomfortable?
Yes,
definitely. Otherwise,
we said yesterday.
So close to being like, we cannot do this.
It's silly.
But I'll be honest though, if that was true, that would concern us. If Newcastle United, after everything that's gone on, are in a process where they're having to sell, we don't know how much it was really worth to bridge gaps. Let's just conservatively say a £50 million gap. If they're having to sell their top young players and still not able, they've spent nothing this summer, are still unable to go out and spend 70 to 80 million pounds. That's concerning.
But it just...
This is poor management financially, if that's the case. That's not me saying they are managing poorly, or that is the case in general. I think they can go and spend that money, but if it was even the point that they had to rein it back, I think that's poor.
I think it'll probably be a worse out now because it's being played out in public. I think that's a problem.
Yeah.
Whether they've publicly put in 4 bids, what side that came from. I mean, obviously Crystal Palace have been very public.
You think it's Palace? It's all Palace leaks, don't you? Well, I was talking to you about this yesterday.
Steve Parish is the man that stood in front of 3 cameras on Tuesday, and then Mark Gay, strangely I thought, got put in front of a Sky Sports camera. Clearly the Sky Sports reporter couldn't ask Mark Gay about Newcastle interest, but were these questions to the point where he tried to get a couple of lines from, as you say. It's a very odd situation, so I don't know. I said I think it's a difficult deal to do. I just have a feeling that they will do it because they've been so persistent, and I think you're right in many ways actually. if they weren't to get the deal done now, it probably would be a little bad luck.
Yeah.
Because you said you want this player, and you put in 4 bids,
You've
and
gone
you haven't
this
got
far.
him. Yeah.
Like,
It almost feels like they have to do it now.
I don't think it's one of those, like, I see people on social media, they're like, oh, just pay what they want. That's not really what I'm saying.
No.
What I'm saying is Eddie Howe has clearly decided, and you can see he's still got his fingerprints all over this summer transfer window.
Yeah.
As much as he tries to distance himself.
He does, and despite Paul Mitchell coming in, he's still got his fingerprints all over it. And it's quite clear to me, without having heard him say that he really wants Mark Gee to be the man to come in and transform Newcastle United's defence. So if that's the case, and there is only a limited amount of money in the budget, if you've gone this far, you've just got to go all in and get the man, and then deal with further things down the line.
I think it just depends, because we don't know alternatives. Who is the alternative? I'm no scout, but surely there's.
Oh, I see them online, man.
I can't speak yet. I always do this.
I was the same on the live. Couldn't get it out.
Newcastle have seen the success with going to the continent with Fabian Schar. Good few years ago now with Sven Botman. For not a lot of money with Bruno, you could get maybe potentially as good a player for half the price.
He's not going to do that, though, is he?
And that's
the issue, though.
Yeah,
that's
he's
the
just
crux
not.
of the problem.
I mean, it's one of those things we've been saying on here till we're blue in the face, but he just isn't going to do it, is he? He wants his Premier League experience.
But then you get a 12 months down the line again, and you start to PSR again as well, because.
Well, I hope they deal with that now.
Because you've already paid an English premium.
So they had to get. I think, my opinion, again, this might be controversial. I think the summer transfer window has been a failure. If Newcastle United don't move on some of the players, no matter what they do incomings,
I don't think they will.
If they didn't get rid of one of the players who we all know were available for transfer, Kieran Trippier, Callum Wilson, we know for a fact they were available for transfer. And this isn't just speculation. Things we can't say on here. We've got information about certain players that we knew that was probably the end this summer. It hasn't turned out to be the case so far. Miguel Almiron, we know for a fact from January onwards that information, some of it was shared, some of it was gone, that he is still available to go. If Newcastle United finish this window with all 3 of those players in that squad, that is a failure of their transfer business, because all it does is kick the can down the road to a fear that next summer, whoever the lad is they've signed from Serbia or whatever it may be, he goes on loan somewhere, and then there you go, right? Oh, he's great, him, brilliant. We'll sell him for 30 million quid. Or Miley comes back in, and then it's like, who wants? Aston Villa want to sign him for 25 million. We've got to let him go because we've got no other choice. This cannot happen again. They cannot let that happen. So you've got to get rid of players while the value's there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love Kieran Trippier. I love him. I do not want to see him go, but it's all very strange. It still feels very strange. I think there's legs in that before the end of this window.
Yeah, I think there is as well.
I don't believe he.
You see today?
The actions today. I mean, I thought it was all very strange.
Yeah, go for it. I mean, Kieran Trippier, you allowed 5 players to warm up now for new rules for the Premier League. Kieran Trippier comes out the last 5 minutes of the game. Tino Livramento was doing the job at right back. He had no reason to come off, I suppose. But
Matt Targett was out warming up for about
in front of
70 minutes.
To be fair, he needs a warmness on his legs. No.
Yeah, but I thought it was strange. Kieran Trippier, first of all, didn't start the game after playing more football than Anthony Gordon, but then Anthony Gordon did start the game and looked, with all due respect, Anthony Gordon not at his usual levels.
Nowhere near. He looks as rusty as hell. Like he looks so far off, like the Anthony Gordon that we know. And in the live, a lot of people came in the comments actually, and they were like, "Has his head been turned? That wasn't Anthony Gordon that we know." I can't say for certain whether his head's been
after
turned.
45 minutes of pre-season.
Yeah,
you can't.
He literally played 45 minutes, having played 2 years non-stop. He had about a week off in 2 years, and then all of a sudden he's like thrown in, and everyone says, "I know, but he didn't play for England." It's not the same.
No, you're
it's
still
not the
mental switch.
It's not the
off
mental and physical reset you'll get by lying on a pool in the Caribbean or in Dubai or wherever. He didn't get that. He only had a little period of that, and now he's come back quite cold. And I think that's so obvious. And I'm surprised he stayed on as long as he did in that game. I thought
you could see he's running around.
Yeah, I think probably the going down to 10 because you were like, does Anthony Gordon give you a little bit more up and down, bit more legs than say a Harvey Barnes did, or does? Because you even suggested Miguel Almiron was maybe an ideal because of the way he runs up and down. So
or Joe Willock, I said as well.
Yeah. So I think the type of game it was probably saw Anthony Gordon stay on longer than.
Not that Anthony Gordon though.
No.
That Anthony Gordon was not the Anthony Gordon. It wasn't even close.
Love.
I don't necessarily. I think that's harsh.
I think we will see it. Hopefully,
of course we will. I think we will.
In the coming weeks.
Quite confident that we will.
Eddie Howe said as much. Actually, he said there's still players getting up to speed after the internationals. So.
Bruno looked well off it. I thought.
For the first half hour.
Until that last half an hour where he was literally a man possessed.
There was his like effort and devouring passion and all came to all. He was very intelligent. Well, I say intelligent actually. I thought the couple of free kicks he won weren't really free kicks.
Last 5 minutes were chaos from him. He does probably one of the most needless fouls on the edge of the box, and then wins two fouls to relieve all pressure and basically win Newcastle game.
The one on the halfway line, we were laughing. It was brilliant. It was like watching him run through treacle trying to get to that ball. He was so tired and then fell over and won the free kick. It was just really clever. But he was great. He was putting his body on the line. He was winning tackles, challenges. He was hoovering everything up on the edge of that box. It was brilliant to see. And his mate alongside him, with two mates alongside him, Bruno was actually probably the lesser performer for the majority of that game. Yeah. Sean Longstaff had a great first hour where he was physical. He put his foot in when he needed
to. Got the biggest cheer, didn't he?
He was one of us out there though when he did that.
Yeah, and I think that's Sean Longstaff had his criticism, but I think that's what we should remember about Sean Longstaff is that he is one of us.
Yeah.
And I think he epitomised sort of the feelings in the stands where it was that tackle on Brennan Diaz. I think it was like 5 minutes after. And you could feel everyone wanted Sean Longstaff to slide in. He did exactly that, and I think he put another crunching tackle in the second half.
That's what you get from him. The other one, Joelinton, he's
missed him so much.
I made a joke and point before we start this video, and I've heard people say it before, and I've never agreed with it. But it's interesting. Is he Newcastle United's most important player? They are different when he's in that kind of form. There's not many touch him.
You think about Newcastle.
It's a fear factor from the opposition when he's bundling around the midfield.
Because if you step out of line, he'll put you back in. Yeah. Like he's got that. I remember that one of the best things I've seen of Joelinton was that Tottenham one where we're getting stuffed down there, and he just totally absolutely sent Pedro Porro cartwheeling away. One where he give him it in the back. I was like, go on. That's what you want to see. Like the Longstaff one today.
He was the best player on the pitch today before he scored, and then he was as good in the second half. I thought maybe faded slightly towards the end when Bruno came into it a bit more, but yeah,
it's been great in pre-season.
Really good.
He probably epitomises what I think about Newcastle though, in terms of that sort of high intensity outrunning teams. Joelinton does that.
Yeah, there was none of that today though.
No.
Even with 11 men, it was like.
But even when it was in the first half an hour and it wasn't going very well, Joelinton was the only man that was actually awake inside the stadium ball.
I thought that. Yeah, because Bruno was caught in possession, Anthony Gordon was caught in possession that first half hour when Newcastle was so lacklustre. Yeah, Lewis Hall a few times even in the second half, and then Lloyd Kelly came on and I thought really showed things up actually, Lloyd Kelly on his debut.
Big credit Eddie Howe for that change, I thought.
We sort of were calling for it, weren't we? Because you could see Lewis Hall.
It wasn't his type of game.
No, to be fair, you called it, Liam, as well. Like Lewis Hall's one of them players that likes to get forward, and when it's backs against the wall, defensively, he's obviously still got a lot to improve defensively. I think that probably showed the day where he was beaten on quite a few occasions.
You mentioned it was immediate. As soon as Lloyd Kelly came into that game, it was like a body position. Yeah, he did.
Because the guy who came on, it was a Suleimana, I think it was, who came on for
No, it wasn't. It was a lad I didn't know his name. Great, obviously. Always do me research. It was a lad who I didn't know, and he was actually really dangerous.
Was it not the lad whose name you liked?
It was a random name that looked like you could shout it really loud. It was
you liked his name.
I can't remember his name, but I'd never heard of him.
But he came on and caused problems, and then Lloyd Kelly stood him up. So
he was just. It's just a little. It's the nuances, just the way he stood and where he was pushing him. He was pushing him back inside, and it just looked like a proper defender defending. Whereas Lewis Hall, it would have suited him today, probably. When you pick your team, you wouldn't have picked Kelly at left back because you would have went, right, well, we'll play with two full-backs to get forward.
Lewis Hall's a front foot player.
He is.
Lloyd Kelly's maybe more suited to maybe when you're on the back foot because he'd be used to that with Bournemouth a bit more. Yeah. Even though Bournemouth are generally
he's got better defensive qualities, whereas Lewis Hall's got better attacking qualities. Yeah. He's got a lovely left foot, he's passing. I don't know, like Kelly's a good passer, the ball, we've seen that in pre-season, but they're just different players. It's actually quite nice to have those little options. I think at left back, they've got options at right back. I don't think Tino Livramento has had a very good pre-season. I didn't think he was amazing today,
He grew into it, I suppose.
And I think you guys took some criticism for one of your videos this summer where you talked about Kieran Trippier still being the best right back of the club.
Yesterday?
Was it yesterday? And I think
previously.
Yeah, I think I've got to concur with you guys. I'm a big fan of Kieran Trippier. I think his experience would have done no harm in that game today, and his distribution in terms of creating goals. Tino Liverment's got a long way to go. He's a good athlete, good potential, still learning his game. It's only really his second full season as a pro, considering that injury took about a year or so out of his development. So he's still learning, but with the ball, Kieran Trippier is a much better option. I think defending-wise, because of his size and his speed, Liverment slightly shades him because of the age. Whereas, although Trippier still has the ability, even at nearly 34, to pocket anybody if he really wants to. Yeah, he did. Yeah, never forget that. But anyway, we went round the houses, haven't we?
Without even mentioning the main event of the game.
Well, yeah. So you wanted to say something about that, didn't you? The Fabian Schar, Ben Brereton Diaz. I'm not giving him Ben Brereton. He's not having that.
Ben Diaz.
It's not Ben Brereton. He can pretend he's Spanish.
He's a Chilean international.
He's just a. I was going to say something that would need. Belief.
Alan Shearer said it on Twitter.
Yeah, that was what I was going to call him. He's not though. He's just a bit of a. Beep. I mean, he scored. He's Nottingham Forest through and through. He scored against them for Sheffield United last year. They were already relegated. And he's celebrating. Yeah. Celebrating at the City Ground, I think it was, as if he'd won the league. You're a certain type of person if that's the way you go on. Don Hutchison's the other one. I've never mentioned this on the video, but anybody of a certain age who's seen was around 99, 2000, where Sunderland came here and won twice. First one was under the rain. Second one was the year after. Don Hutchison down in the corner of the Gallagher there, kissing the Sunderland badge. And then he goes on as if he's the biggest Newcastle fan going.
If you're watching, Don,
Don, if you're watching, I wouldn't wipe me backside. Never mind kiss it, and I'll never forgive that.
Nearly half an hour, and we haven't mentioned Fabian.
Go on then.
Fabian Schar was sent off today. There's a turning point in the game.
No, I can't compose each other that like. Don Hutchinson's gonna watch this.
I didn't see the video
if
going in that direction.
Turns up, he's gonna film me.
He's a big lad.
He is a big lad. I'm not very fast either.
If I was Ben Diaz, if I was Ben Brereton tonight, I would be embarrassed by his antics. I would be left embarrassed by what he did on that pitch.
Yes, because they lost. I think if they'd won, he goes, we won the game.
Is it 3 games?
Violent conduct,
red card, 3
Anyhow,
games, isn't it?
I think they will consider an appeal, but I'll be honest, I think
the
they're looking at it and probably
back,
won't. And even if they did appeal, they had no chance.
Look, it's a soft red card, it's a daft red card, but for me, Fabian Schar has been silly. He's shown a bit of hot-headedness. He's probably felt his ego a bit bruised by getting knocked on the floor. Bearing in mind the game has already stopped at this point. Ben Brereton Diaz probably in his head knows.
He heard the whistle. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Get a one over him just for the crack. Get one up on him.
Until he learns Spanish, he kind of have the Diaz.
I'm trying to make a point here. Fabian Schar gets up, comes towards him. That's the issue. Both players go in with their heads a little bit. Not much, really. Not enough to warrant a red card, in my opinion. But Fabian Schar is giving the referee, Craig Pawson, a decision to make and has to go for it. He's the ultimate aggressor in that situation because he's reacted. He's been provoked by Ben Brereton Diaz. And I think it's silly. I think the player himself...
when he looks in the mirror...
Southampton man, yeah. Even Russell Martin said he's made the most of it. And he has. I mean, it's embarrassing in a lot of ways, and it's probably a problem with the rules of the game where anything like that is an automatic red card, really. It's silly.
It is silly. If I'm the referee and I'm in no way qualified, I would literally just bang their 2 heads together and be like,
they did do that.
Come on. No, but you know what I mean? Like, come on, lads. Honestly, what are you doing? What's all this ego, bravado crap? You're playing a game of football. yellow card, get on with it. Do it again, you'll get off. But it's not a foul. It's not injured anybody. It's not hurt anybody. It's not even aggressive. It's not even like there's no backlift. If you know what I mean, like douche.
That's the clip.
You may as well if you're gonna get 3 games.
Exactly.
Exactly. 30 minutes bang on. I'm just thinking for the clip for the start of the video.
What the douche?
But yeah, I think
Fabian
Schar needs to be smart.
But he needs to look. If he looks at, he'd be looking in the mirror tonight saying, could I have done better there? You can only control the controllables. And if I'd literally just not worried about my ego, if I'd have stood up, laughed at him, you're a dafty, walked away. There's only one booking getting made. There's only one card being drawn, and the game goes on. Although I'm not sure the result ends up the same.
But I think Schar got a bit of a shock, because it was like the play had stopped. It had clearly stopped because the referee blew for a free kick. Shar's turned his back and Diaz in the back of him. So I think he's been pelted to the floor, and he's like, I think it's sort of like a natural reaction. I think it's just one of them hot-headed moment things where you sometimes just can't control.
I don't know the reaction of. It's interesting to analyse the reaction of Pope and Byrne after that, where they're both trying to drag him back off the floor. Is that guilt? Is that like, oh, I think something's going to happen here because you've done that and they know he's done it? Or are they literally just like, you are an idiot, get off the floor?
Shar's reaction, Shar's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Because it was both of them, but Shar's walked in the step.
Do you know what's similar though, actually? Anthony Gordon and Fabian Schar, when Gordon was at Everton, there's that clip of them when it was showed when Gordon was saying where the head's like that. That's all it was. But the difference is that Diaz has threw himself to the ground. Yeah,
he's no Anthony Gordon.
So big up Anthony Gordon, you Scouse legend. You don't go on the floor when someone touches your head.
He also doesn't pretend to be Spanish.
No, he doesn't.
I have Spanish roots. Chilean.
Nice.
Chilean. Yes. I mean, he does have Chilean roots. He didn't pretend that. But he pretended to be a Chilean footballer for a bit. Until he got dropped for not speaking Spanish. Get in the bin, Ben Brereton.
He even went to Villarreal to try and improve his Spanish, and he still ended up coming back to England.
Soon worked him out, didn't it?
Yeah.
Lasted about 3 games. Like, send him back. Yeah. I think he's all right. Actually, I think
he was a player you mentioned.
He's actually not even a bad. He's not even a bad. Like, if you're bringing a Chris Rhodes replacement when we're talking about it, it's like he's actually not a. If you can get him cheap, he's not a bad option. But no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. Stick to your relegation battles, mate. It's where you belong.
Southampton might do all right this year. I don't think they'll.
I don't think.
I reckon.
No, they played against a totally undercooked, far from the best Newcastle United today, and had 60 minutes.
Couldn't score.
60 minutes to create chances, and I could think of probably 3.
No quality in the final third.
No quality in the final third. That's what's always going to kill him. Adam Armstrong as your striker in the Premier League. I think I'll really rate him. I think he was fantastic last season. Obviously, he deserves a lot of credit for scoring the goal that got them up as well, and was here, and maybe he's got a broad deal from Rafa Benitez at the time, but is one of those Dwight Gale bridge a gap. He's halfway between a Premier League and a Championship forward, and he's not a goal scorer at this level. And if that's what you're relying on, and Ben Brereton didn't score enough goals to keep Sheffield United in the division last year, so I certainly wouldn't be pinning me hat on him thinking he's going to keep them up. So I think they're woefully short.
Not to me, silenced on like Southampton might do okay this season.
No, they might. The way they played in that first half and half, they turn up everywhere like that. They were quite clever.
Yeah.
And I think of the teams that went down, you'd looked at their squad and thought it's almost ready to come straight back to the Premier League. They've got good players. Adozie came off the bench. I really rate him. Hasn't quite become the player that everyone thought he would when he was, a kid and things like that. But they've got decent players. But you're asking Alex McCarthy to play like Edison and Alisson football from the back. Bloke's never done it in his career. It's a big jump. And that's what cost them today. It's a big jump, and then you've got centre halves who are being asked to play football they've never even seen on the telly. Half of them, like they can't contemplate. The lights fail them.
No, I think it's alright.
We've got darker since the start.
We've covered a lot of ground here.
It's been a while. How long it's been? It's got to have been a month since we've stood as a 3.
It's a 3. It's been a long time.
Good to have you back.
I hope we've enjoyed it.
It's been really good to have you back.
You feel fresh now? You not got that Anthony
Gordon? No, I've still got the rust.
Oh.
No, maybe I haven't. I've come back with a few. I think the rust maybe's gone. The rust was all saved for the live.
I was saying to Jordan before the game, it's the most highly anticipated Newcastle return since Sandro Tonali.
Stop trying to butter us up.
Still returned before him.
They were criticising us before, now they're buttering us up.
We love you, man. We love you.
Right, I don't know. We need to do 4 Rivers.
Well,
Or not.
one thing we haven't touched on, we can quickly touch on it. Something you planted the seed back in January. Bruno, captain.
Oh, yeah. I've got to give credit. I think I mentioned it on the video. I've got to give credit to my dad, who was sitting in the Gallagher today, as he always does for my whole lifetime. He was like, give Bruno the captaincy. And I never really thought it would come to fruition. We discussed it. It was like a revelation when we talked about it. It was like, this is so obvious. And nobody's talking about it. Incredible. I was really.
I was
happy to see him
surprised
get the
because
captaincy.
Dan Burn was on the pitch and usually he takes the armband, but it was I think he
It's-
described it as a beautiful sight.
But
for
it's
Bruno.
important though, isn't it?
It is,
They,
aye.
they know the situation, and it's about making him feel like owning it. He's owning this team now by taking them out on the first day of the Premier League season,
Yeah.
and he's more a part of it, even if he didn't.
His programme notes were incredible, weren't they?
Yeah,
He went hard.
He wants to be on the
He's
wall and the
an
reception
emotional guy.
alongside Jackie Milburn, Bobby Robson, and Kevin Keegan.
Tino Asprilla. He's there as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
Tino 21.
Miggy will be there for his goal against PSG.
You never know. You
They
never know.
might. If we don't get back there, we'll have to wait another 20 years. Possibly.
So yeah, that was nice to see him lead the side out. And initially, it looked like he wasn't quite up to speed as Newcastle were, but it was a captain's performance in the end from him. Eddie Howe said it was one of the best in terms of defensive work you'll see from a midfielder.
Not the first half.
No,
second
but
half.
in terms of the dogged, dirty work in the second half, really good.
I think it helped Newcastle, didn't it? They had to drop 10 yards further back as a team, and those gaps that were open between defence and midfield suddenly disappeared.
Yeah.
And the gaps were moved out wide, of course, because the width totally went as well. But it suited Newcastle because Southampton didn't really have the quality to hurt them.
Yeah.
Do you think we're locked in?
I think we're the last people.
Possibly. I thought
Not even the
there was
ground
someone
staff,
coming before, and I thought we were going to get kicked out then and there, but
The ground staff's not even.
Yeah, we're going to get wrong for this one these days.
they'll check the CCTV.
3 divvies standing,
What do they do?
The Geordie Divvies.
talking to a phone. We'll do it for you, though. We'll do it all for you.
Risk
We do.
getting thrown out of.
We do.
High risk, high
Various
reward.
Funny thing about this is we're saying
Lovable.
we're back to the 3 of us. I think that's the end. Well, I think
It's a fleeting return.
I'm disappearing again.
Uh-huh.
So you'll be
Summer,
doing,
innit?
yeah. You guys will be doing.
Oh, I won't be. I'm away this week, so I'll be
Oh,
flying
yeah.
solo on Friday.
Yeah. So when you see what on
Beep.
Oh no.
Friday,
No, it's a blow. That's a blow for me.
it's a tough one for me to come on Friday. I'm flying on Friday afternoon.
Cool. I
Just
could
have-
show up, but I wouldn't be able to say much.
Just come to the press and sit at the back, man. It's alright. I've done these videos by myself before.
Get a guest on.
Get a guest. Anyhow. No, I could. I mean,
Aye, there's other YouTubers attend the press conferences. I don't know. Play it by ear. John.
yeah,
You'll
I
do
mean,
a good job either way.
I'll try. And look, the quality might be lacking sometimes, but I try, and that's all anyone can ever ask for. Like we do with this Newcastle United team.
I just managed to talk for 46 minutes on the live.
And
By
you're
myself.
back. Me and Jordan have barely been able to crack 30 minutes, but you're back and we're flying into 40.
Well, I think it does. When you add in an extra person who wants to talk, it does just
you've
drag
got a
it.
lot-
You've had a lot
lot
to
to
say,
say.
and I wanted to let you have the platform to do.
No complaints, please.
No.
Keep it clean. Right, Four Rivers Financial Planning, proud sponsors of all Geordie Journal's long form videos. If you need all the bits and bobs, they're down there, and I'm sure it might well be on the screen as well. Is there anything else we need to mention? On Monday night, we will be on channel 276. It never goes in. Channel 276 on Shots TV, and we think. Sure.
I think it's pending.
It's pending. Okay, there might be some other news with regards where you can see our special Monday videos, which you won't be on this week, or you will. Are you?
No, he's-
We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see the format in which we do it.
but the 3 will might be on Monday, so you might be able to catch you on channel 276. Hey, 276 on Monday night on Shots TV, but you might also be able to catch you on another channel, but we'll wait and see how that one plays out. Right, do please like it, do please comment, and also share it around to all your mates so it helps the algorithm. Click the bell if you want to see all your Geordie Journals content. not your Monday night ones. That's kind of hived off for TV purposes. We did start posting them. I think it's only fair to the platforms that have employed the Geordie Journals that we allow them just to have that exclusively. So Monday nights and on potentially 2 channels, definitely on 1, you will see the Geordie Journals, and then we'll have to see how the week pans out. There might be a case if something kicks off in the transfer market or we get any information, we might have to jump on and do some bits and bobs. We're all around. I think you're not around next week, you're saying?
No.
Yeah, well,
I'll see.
Yeah, he might be. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We're waffling. I'm waffling. Shut us up now. Good night from St James's Park. Whenever you watch this, like, comment, share, subscribe for all your Geordie Journals content.
Super thanks.
Super thanks. Go on, that's your bag.
Oh, not again. Look, I've got me begging bowl out here.
People have probably stopped watching by this point, to be fair.
Yeah. Somebody probably have, yeah. If you
haven't said goodbye.
If you haven't, goodbye. If you haven't,
goodbye, but please.
If you do, I know, begging bowl. No, if you do, like, seriously, any donations we do get all go into the channel. So, like, when we went to Germany, me and Jordan, like, some of that we've had to pay for ourselves and things like that. So, of course, any, like, the new microphone that we get, all this kind of stuff.
New tripod we're saving up
New
for.
tripod and light will be
We're
next.
going to get tripod and light. So anything that you guys do send us goes straight back in the channel. We don't take anything out. We're not taking a wage or anything from this. Not that we're making enough money to do that anyway.
I was telling the guys that we had to pay you an appearance fee to come back on.
You're not meant to give that
That was me.
information,
That was me super thanks plea. So please donate to see Liam Kennedy back on the Geordie Journals.
Did anybody donate?
worked.
Yes.
Did they really? Please donate if you want to see me on the video next week. But I'm going away as well, so I'll not be at Bournemouth. And I'll not be at Nottingham Forest either. It'll just be you 2 guys, won't it? Are you going to Bournemouth?
Yes.
Right, yeah. Just be these 2
Yeah.
for that. But if you want me on, do put a little message in the super thanks, and you might be able to buy us.
What you could do for the 2 games is if you get a spare 5 minutes, maybe, video from your holiday destination.
Yeah, very hot where I'm going. I will be sweating.
Yeah.
No, definitely. That's one thing that's certain.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Do you want us to do that?
Yes.
Are you
I was
gonna
just saying thanks to the people who donated it from our video yesterday, which was Willis Wozniak 454. Thank you for a $1.99 donation, and Graham Ritchie as well. Love the coverage, lads. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Graham. $5 donation. That means an awful lot. So
There was on the live as well. There was another $4.99, which was from NUFC 9999. Again, massive thank you. I said thank you in the live, and I'll say thank you again. Right, we're shutting up. We're getting out.
Yeah.
I want a pint. These guys do too, and we also want fed probably as well. So good night from St James's Park. A happy day. Not the way we would have planned it, but we got there in the end, just like this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe for all your Geordie Journals content. Cheers, guys.